Hello. Once again I come before you as a representative of the Illuminati. You may call me the Man. Well, I've been gone for a while, and as I've been gone, I've been getting two different kinds of messages. The one is, hey, the Man, where are you? And the second one is, hey, Donald Trump's still in charge, and we're a little nervous. And it turns out the two are kind of related. Yeah. I don't know how many times I've had to stand here and tell you a couple of times where things have kind of gone off the rails. And I know that we don't get to report a whole lot of wins here. That's usually why I'm even here in the first place, to explain why something has not exactly turned out the way we thought it should have. Of course, it all started with the blackbirds. You know, the very first episodes. I had to apologize for all the death of those birds everybody cared about. And yeah, it's... well, I'm back again. Remember some months ago, for you long-term viewers, I stood here and I said, hey, don't worry about it. Donald Trump is not Donald J. Trump. That's just a character he plays in political theater in order to demonstrate an objective point of the limits of power and how power should, in fact, be limited, and how if one crazy person takes over something, you know, there's always checks and balances and such. You know, we did the same thing with the last administration. We're doing the same thing with this administration. So you know how power should be limited. Well, that was true. And it was true all the way up into February. And at that point, while on a golfing trip to Mar-a-Lago, remember the golfing trips that Obama took, right? And then the candidate Trump said, oh, I'll never go golfing. Like, yeah, well, and then he did the golfing thing. And that was like his favorite joke. Donnie used to laugh and laugh and laugh about that joke. And it was quite funny. It was great satire. And then on this particular trip, he got hit in the head with an errant golf ball. And it's caused some problems. But probably not the problems you're thinking. You see, I think I mentioned quite a while ago that Donald Trump was, in fact, our ambassador to an alien species that lives on top of his head. Yeah, that's the ambassador of the Bindi. It's spelled with a silent M, B-I-N-D-I-X-R-Y. And the last X-R-I, of course, are silent as well. But that's the way they want to spell it. You know, who am I to tell them that breaks all the rules of English? Nobody. So he, in the 80s, decided that he was going to be our ambassador to this particular species, the Bindi. And we let him do it because, you know, Donnie, for a long time, he was very helpful. I mean, the guy was an excellent negotiator. He, in fact, negotiated the return of Apollo in the 80s. Of course, you know, most of the Greek gods, as I'm sure you know, came back in the 60s. But Apollo was still stuck out there in the ether until the 8th. You know, that would probably make a really good video. You guys don't know about the war between the Norse and the Greeks, do you? No. You know how I keep referring to the Queen of England as the ruler of Britain, and then the, you know, 4 of the 5 populated outer dimensions, or 6 of the 7 populated outer dimensions, or 5 of the 6, you know, it changes. There's a reason I do that. And of course, we know that Odin is in charge of one of those outer dimensions. You see, we're in the inner dimension, the green section, if you think of the visible spectrum, right? We're in the green. We're right there in the center. You've got red, orange, yellow, green, right? And then blue, indigo, violet, right? So the queen is in charge of orange, yellow, blue, indigo, violet. And sometimes indigo, violet kind of blends together. Sometimes blue kind of blends together. Red, you know what I'm saying? Is it usually, once they blend, they're still in charge of those sections, but, you know, and then they separate and they're white or whatever. Well, everybody wants to get into the green because the green is kind of solid. You know, you wake up in the morning, you're in the same house you were last night, and it's not on Mars or something, right? It's right here on Earth, exactly where you were, and you know that's kind of important. And so, in the outer dimensions, not so much. You know, your entire dimension might just boop out of existence. But at one point, the Queen was not in charge of all these, and of course, the Greeks were in charge. And then they started a war with the Norse. So they're sitting over here on violet, Norse over here on red. You know, visually speaking, just it's not exactly, but you know what I'm saying. In order to visualize it, and so. They started this war, and they started marching their way toward the green, and they were making a lot of trouble. And then the Norse completely upended everything and went through the ultraviolet to get to the violet and just destroyed them. I mean, just completely. It wasn't even close. And so the Greeks lost the territory that they had. They wound up in the ultraviolet, which is really kind of nothing. I mean, there's like nothing there at all. Just like 2 restaurants total and nothing else. I mean, really to speak of. And so then, of course, they had the violet, they had the red, and then the queen came and she took, there was a whole war on. Anyway, the Norse wound up with the 1. And we know, of course, they pop into our dimension unannounced anytime CERN's not working. And so, yeah, we're working on that. But but the Greeks, of course, stuck out in the cold, literally. And anyway, so back in the 60s, most of them got to go back. But Apollo, of course, he was guilty of war crimes against the Norse, and he was not allowed to come back. And so anyway, skip forward to the 80s, Donald Trump, with Apollo, proved that Apollo had a change of heart. He did reparations. He was doing all this stuff. Nobody really died that didn't get resurrected later, and he was allowed to come back. And he's been a very productive citizen so far. Really nice guy, makes great enchiladas, and so he's great. And so when Donald Trump did that, well, of course, that skyrockets his image a little bit. And so we have the Bindi, the silent M-B-I-N-D-I, and they came here, and I housed the ambassador for a little bit. Matter of fact, I still have a little hole right here that never grew back. It wasn't pleasant. They're a very emotional species, and literally that's how they communicate, is emotions. They don't really go for logical concepts. Many times they kind of drift through space for large sections of it. It's kind of like, think of a hairy jellyfish. And Don was losing his hair at the time a little bit, and so he thought, hey, why not be an ambassador and get a little cover at the same time? Seemed like a good idea. And he did an excellent job of it. And he continued to do an excellent job for us. He was very entertaining on television. He got a little carried away sometimes, but you got that much emotion flowing through you. You're just going to be, every once in a while, you're going to say stupid stuff. Nice guy, though. Really nice guy. Until February, when he got hit in the head. And it damaged the Bindi ambassador, and then, of course, because the two are connected, flooded Donald Trump until he started thinking he was Donald J. Trump, the character. He believes he is now that character. And so a couple of things have had to happen. I had to go away to the Bindi homeworld. There is a homeworld. It's made up of a lot of hairy people all together. People's a little, playing loose with the language, but creatures, they kind of all tangled together, and the home world is them. And so you had to go and communicate with them. We had to express our condolences and get some sort of advice on how to deal with a damaged Bindi. And they're sending a new representative. However, they're taking their sweet time about it. They don't trust the Anunnaki travel methods, and so it's going to take a long time for them to get here. I mean, this place is way out of town. And if we just beamed a signal there, it still wouldn't have gotten there. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't have gotten there after your great-grandkids are long gone. So so we had to go do that. And of course, the second thing was, of course, Hugh stepped up. Hugh, our entertainment guy, good job, buddy. Come on over. No, actually, second thought, I'll just stay there. Once I get Hugh on camera, he just never leaves. But Hugh, he talked to a lot of the directors and stuff because, with the emotion thing comes in here, Donald J. Trump doesn't really think very logically all the time. He feels things. And so we've had to make some tweaks to the summer blockbusters. And shout out to James Gunn. Oh my gosh. He really brushed the editing on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Completely changed who the bad guy was. And, spoiler, maybe not. You know what? I'm not going to tell you. It worked, and you're probably going to see kind of an anti-alien kind of bent towards certain things. And we apologize, of course, for people in the movie industry, the grays that are there, and they don't really care. They don't really care at all as long as money's flowing. They get to study their bacteria. They're good. And anyway, so yeah, we're just kind of like we're taking this so that Donald might just on a gut level kind of like maybe things aren't quite right, and he'll reach out and call us again because he's not taking my calls. He's just not. Come on, Donnie, pick up the phone, man. I tutored you. was a long time ago. I used to be a teacher. Okay, that's just the way he was very young, and I'm a lot older than I appear to be, and I think I've said that multiple times. But anyway, yeah, pick up the phone, dude. Anyway, so yeah, I had to go there, and then of course had to come back here, and even with the Anunnaki travel, it was a very long trip. There were some pluses. The in-flight movie was Night of the Were-Rooster by David Radford, and that was very entertaining. You know, that director only had like $600 he could spend himself, and he managed to make a 90-minute movie that's streaming on Amazon, and it was just remarkable. About the 16th time I saw that, I was starting to see flashes of genius in this thing, right? It seems like a low-budget movie, but if you just repeatedly watch it over and over again, you start to pick up on things that you didn't see the first 15 times. It was a long trip. It's an hour-and-a-half movie. And of course, you know, I couldn't watch movies the whole time, so I brought my Kindle with me, and I picked up a novel, also by a guy named David Radford, who, The Reaper. Yeah, that's for sale on the Kindle, and I had that, so that was pretty good too. But yeah, it was just a long trip, and here I am. I rested a lot. I really did. You can only watch movies for so long, so I did take a few naps, and so we're ready to go. We've got a big task ahead of us. I'm not too worried. Do I seem worried? I'm a little worried. I'm not too worried, though, because, you know, checks and balances. The most powerful person in the world can still be bound by law. There's a Congress, there's a Supreme Court. There's people in his own party who know something is wrong, and a few of them actually know something is wrong. The rest of them kind of suspect something, but we don't really trust them. So we actually told the people that we do trust, and they're still limited in number. You'd be surprised how many people in Congress you just can't trust. So they don't really know anything about us. And of course, we're not all about over control anyway. We're more under the radar, behind the scenes. Over control, people try to take you over, and they want to take control. If you're just behind the scenes, just chilling out, by just talking to a few hundred people or a few thousand people on YouTube, letting them know what's going on, that's all cool. You know, nobody really worries about that. And so, yeah, we're just, we're working on a plan. We're working on two plans. You know, the anti-alien thing in the blockbusters, that was kind of already built in because we were a little bit concerned about this invasion that's coming, and we're about 95% sure that we can take care of that. But if the 5% happens and they get here and we need some resistance, it'll already be built up. You see, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay as long as Charlie Sheen, as I've said, is not in an Oscar-winning film in the next 2 years. We're going to be fine for that. But the other thing with the Donald J., we're working on it. And we're hoping very soon that we can get, I don't know, some Prozac or something in, I don't know, just to kind of pull back the emotional part of it, let his more logical side come out, and at least pick up the phone, dude. I mean, come on. I'm a little worried. Anyway, so yeah, we got a lot to do, and we got this giant invasion, we got that. If you guys, if you could all just kind of like help relieve a little bit of our tension and our worry by, you know, not getting too stressed out yourselves, that would be great. Because stressed out people, they do weird things, and suddenly we have more problems to worry about. So to that end, we would like you to do a couple of things. You could leave a comment or question in the comment section below, and we would try to get back to it just as soon as we can, because, you know, if you're interacting with us, then you can't be too upset, right? Yeah, and the second thing you can do, that's logical, isn't it, Hugh? Lainey told me that before I came on. But the second thing you can do, of course, is when you walk outside your house or your apartment, car, tent, wherever you happen to abide, and you look up there and you see those beautiful chemtrails just streaming across the sky. We in the Illuminati, well, we would just suggest that you relax and you breathe deeply.